Remember, he said that every careless word we speak, we will render account for on the day of judgment. So often we allow the distance and the imposed anonymity of the internet to allow us to act in such a way that is a way that we would never act in front of a person in a personal contact.
Christos anesti ec negrum thanato thanatum.
If you yourself are contemplating establishing a blog, having a podcast, using the internet to promote Holy Orthodoxy, I say wonderful. God bless you. But can I offer a few pieces of advice when you do it? Number one is try to do everything in your life with a blessing. Make sure that any ambition that you have to serve God or to advance the cause of the church, that you come at it with prayer. And you make sure that your primary motivation is love. Second, I would say make sure you ask your spiritual father if he agrees with you that it's a good idea to do that. And if he tells you he wants you to do something or this or that in order to prepare, or he wants to talk to you in greater detail about it, cooperate with him, listen to him, and prepare yourself. And then third, remember that when you are promoting orthodoxy, remember to stay humble. Remember to stay humble. Remember that you are counting on the grace of God. If anything good takes place through your work, give all the glory to God. And if you make mistakes, which you should assume that you will, own those mistakes and improve, just like in any other area of life. Be careful not to act as though you can speak for the church. And be very, very careful not to imitate models, paradigms from other YouTubers or other podcasters that may take worldly standards and use them. So for instance, we don't mock people, and we don't make fun of people, and we don't speak vulgarly. There are all sorts of standards that will be held to on the great day for all of our work that have nothing to do with those in the world who are promoting similar things or using the same structures. So make sure that you're doing it with an eye to being accountable to the Lord, because remember, he said that every careless word we speak, we will render account for on the day of judgment. So often we allow the distance and the imposed anonymity of the internet to allow us to act in such a way that is a way that we would never act in front of a person in a personal contact. Don't let the apparent anonymity of the internet allow you to say or act in any way, in any bombastic or proud way that you wouldn't act if your grandmother was in the room. Debating has a long history in Western education, but it follows rules. It follows rules that maintain civility, that maintain conciseness, and support the exchange of ideas. In our current cultural milieu, those rules are out the window. We live in a very uncivil society, and therefore often debate degenerates into name-calling, into yelling. That is not to say that authentic debate cannot happen, but it's much more difficult to have an edifying debate today than in years past. A good example that I would suggest for our viewers to examine is a podcast called Unbelievable. It's a podcast out of the UK that is designed to bring together Christian intellectuals and non-Christian intellectuals, often agnostics and atheists, in civilized discourse and the exchange of ideas. And I think that podcast is doing a very fine task of reviving traditional debate between parties who mutually respect each other and are listening before they speak. I was blessed recently to go hear one of their debates in Orange County between a very famous mathematician from Oxford, John Lennox, and a young man who's very influential in the political scene here named Rubin. And he was able to exchange with Professor Lennox back and forth about major religious questions in a very edifying way. I do think that that's just one very small component, however, of evangelism. Evangelization starts in the hearts of Christians, to have a heart that's interested in the visitor, that's interested in the neighbor, that's interested in the stranger. No evangelism can take place successfully without tremendous interest on our part in the persons that we don't know. Of course, this is natural for believers because our God is a God who loves visitors. Our God is a God who embraces those who are outside and takes those who are not his people and makes them his people. So for us, evangelism should start with our hearts. We can't go to church, pray, do our business, and leave. If we act like that, we're betraying our calling as Christians, and we're not going to, if our way becomes our parish's way, we're not going to grow. Visitors are not going to feel welcome there. Instead, every parish should have a visitor ministry. There should be designated persons in every parish who watch out for first-time and second-time visitors and who go up and greet them. We have a visitors table that is outside our narthex, so everyone who comes into the church is greeted. If they would like to have more information about the services and about the ministries that are going on that week, they can obtain that information. We get their address, we send them a little note inviting them to come back and be with us. We also have a visitors table that's kept in the parish hall for the agape meal after the liturgy, and they're invited to come over and have a free lunch, an agape meal, as our guests. And people know that if people are sitting at those tables, they're visitors, and many of our parishioners go and introduce themselves and find out who these people are. This is where evangelism starts. And then we should offer regular opportunities for people to come and explore our faith. When we have our classes and when we have our festivals, we should have a component of those being outreach to the community so that our community knows that they are welcome, that we would like them to come and be our parishioners. Whenever I give a church tour at our annual festival, we give tours all day long, and I end the tour by saying to all those who are in the church that I would like each of them to come to church on Sunday and to become my parishioners. That would be a great honor for me to be able to come to become the pastor of these visitors. Some take me up, but I don't think that many would if they didn't have a sense that that was the feeling of the church and that we love them even though we don't know them well and that we want to know them better.